welcome to today's edition of Cracking That Cryptic, where today we've got a puzzle called Galactic Skirmish by AnalyticalNinja and Clocksmith. Now, AnalyticalNinja is a name I recognise. I've done a few AnalyticalNinja puzzles and they've always been magnificent. Clocksmith, I think this might be a debut on the channel for Clocksmith. I hope I'm not misspeaking there, but what I can tell you is that this is a puzzle which has got an incredible rule set. It's basically a hybrid of 3 different types of logic problem. We've got a sort of killer Sudoku, I suppose, at the base of it. We've got starbattle, which is one of possibly my favourite type of logic puzzle. And then we've also got spiral galaxy, which I also love, and we don't get to do on the channel very often. All mixed up together, and yeah, I'm looking forward to try this. Apparently it's a brilliant puzzle. This has been recommended about 15 times to us, so I suspect it's going to make a very, very nice video, and apparently not too difficult today as well, which makes a nice change sometimes. Do I have any news for you today? No, not really, just an appeal as usual. If you do enjoy the channel, please do support us in any way you can. We have our Patreon site, which is the best and biggest Sudoku club on earth, where there's all sorts of extra goodies available every single month. And then we've got a whole suite of apps. Do check those out as well. There's an app for basically every mainstream type of puzzle that you can imagine. And I suppose our most popular app at the moment is the gas apps, where we've got genuinely approachable Sudoku puzzles, and they are the best way to learn how to do these variant Sudoku that we feature on the channel every single day. If you want to get good at them, it's often best to start with puzzles that really are meant to take just a few minutes. And the gas puzzles, you can always find a new gas puzzle every day. Every single day there's a gas Sudoku puzzle, genuinely approachable Sudoku, and there's a genuinely approachable pencil puzzle too, available on the Discord server. And there's a link to all these things in the video description. Anyway, that's said and done. That's enough yattering from me. Let's see if we can find a way through these Star Wars that we've got going on, and see what AnalyticalNinja and Clocksmith have in store for us. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Then spiral galaxy rule says the dots are the centers of rotationally symmetrical groups of orthogonally connected cells. Each cell in the grid belongs to exactly one of these galaxies. Brackets, do not mistake a dot for a white crop key. Okay, yes, because that would have been very easy. Normally dots in Sudoku are indicating that those 2 digits are consecutive. In this puzzle, I must not think that. So what does it mean, this rotationally symmetrical groups of cells point? Well, let's pick this cell as our example. So if we decided somehow that this cell was part of this circle's galaxy, so let's highlight that one in the same color, then if we rotate this galaxy around 180 degrees, this cell would also therefore be in that galaxy. If we figured out that this cell was in the galaxy, again, if we were to rotate this shape around 180 degrees, we should get the same shape. So this is what it means by rotationally symmetric. So you just imagine the shape twisted round a half turn. Does it look the same? Then it is rotationally symmetrical. And that's what we need to achieve. And we're told that every single cell in the puzzle has to belong to one of these circled galaxies. So that's going to be our challenge. Now, I don't know, now the next rule is starbattle. What I don't know is whether we're meant to sort of do these in order. So I don't know whether we do spiral galaxies, then starbattle, then killer Sudoku, or we have to mix and match. But the next rule says each row, column and 3x3 box contains exactly 2 stars in them, and every galaxy contains exactly 1 star. So this is starbattle rule. So if we worked out that this was a star, what should I use for stars? I'll use circles. Do I want to use different colour? Anyway, I'll think about colours for circles in a minute. If I worked out this cell was a star, and I worked out this cell was a star, then in this row there could be no more stars. Now, a critical rule in starbattle is that you cannot have a star in any cell that touches a cell with a star in it. So if we worked out that this cell here had a star, then none of the cells I've just marked there with the line could contain a starred cell, because if they did, you'd have two stars too close to one another. So in fulfilling this criteria, which is incredibly simple, 2 stars in every row, column and box. In fact, there is a small point I can see immediately there, which is a bit to do with solving, but I'll tell you it anyway. There's this little secret. You can't put a star in the middle of a box, can you? Because if we did, you couldn't put a second star in the box, because anywhere you tried to put the second star, it would be touching the first star. So that's a little thing that we can bear in mind when we come to solve this in a minute. It also says every galaxy contains 1 star. So once we've built our galaxies, we've got to make sure we don't put more than 1 star in each galaxy. Now finally, we've got killer Sudoku, which says each galaxy with a small number clue in it sums to the number indicated. Digits cannot repeat within a galaxy, and star cells do not contribute to the totals given. So if we worked out that, how am I going to do this? Let's say we worked out that that was a galaxy. You can see that's rotationally symmetrical around this circle. Then I think what we're saying here is that those... Oh no, we're not. No, I was treating this as the star. There's 1 star in here. Let's say that was the star. So we'll make this a star. Then what we're saying is that the rest of those 6 digits would have to add up to 37. Is I think how that rule works. So that's going to be quite interesting. Anyway, do have a go at the puzzle. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I suspect this is going to be a festival of colours. So for example here you can see those 4 cells are linked to this circle, so they must be part of the same galaxy. That must be obviously part of a different galaxy. This must be part of a different galaxy. So questions like, okay, so each galaxy, yeah, so presumably what we can't do is put 2 different number clues in the same galaxy, because then we wouldn't be able to make the cells in that galaxy add up to both totals simultaneously. So we're going to have to watch out for that. That's got to be a galaxy. Right, so this is the first galaxy that I think is complete. This little 2x2 here, and that's because obviously these 2 cells are a separate galaxy, so we can't extend this purple galaxy left at all, because the rotationally symmetrical cell would be in a different galaxy, and we can't extend it upwards because the rotationally symmetrical cell would actually be off the grid. So that is a complete galaxy. So maybe I have to sort of outline complete galaxies. We could do that, couldn't we? That's got to be, the blue is a complete galaxy as well, because it can't extend up or the rotation is off the grid. Let's go for this one next. We'll make that one light green. Okay. I'm just trying to see if there's anything easy. That's a galaxy. Well, it's a part of a galaxy. Oh, look, there's another 2x2 there that's got to be part of a galaxy. Ah, okay, that cell might be interesting. I think that might have to be part of this galaxy, because I can see that if we just draw a galaxy in there at the bottom, this cell, if it was part of the red galaxy, its rotation would be here in the green galaxy, which is not going to work. So what galaxy is this part of? If it was part of yellow, its rotation would be here in a different galaxy. If it was part of grey, well, you can see it would be over here in a different galaxy. So the only question is either in purple or it's in some weird massive galaxy, which I can't see how it could be part of that galaxy, because that, in order for that to be true, it would go through 2 different numbers. So I think this has to be purple. Now this cell in the top left could be part of green. No, it couldn't, because green, here we go. This might be an easier start. Look, what's this part of? Now, if this was part of purple, it would reflect here. If it was part of green, it would reflect here. So it must be part of yellow. So yellow is now completed. There's no way to extend it anywhere with it without the rotation of the cell we'd extend it into being in a different galaxy. So this cell is now red by force, this cell here, and its rotation is there, and you can see red is now completely sandwiched in, so we can fill red in and ring it. Now grey has complete bounds on both sides, so that's forced. No, I was about to say green's finished, but green is not finished because this cell could rotationally, the rotation of this around this circle here is that, which could be in the green galaxy. I think, all right, that cell's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, here we go. This is the way to think about this. Let's use blue again. So what cell is this part of? Well, it's either part of this galaxy or this galaxy, because no other galaxy can get into the bottom left. If it was part of green, the rotation would take us into a different galaxy. So it's part of blue, and that's given us a weird it's given us a weird shape of blue, but also it's shown us that this must be green, because if this was blue, the rotation would be into a different galaxy here. So this is really nice so far, and I have to agree with some of the people who suggested this one. It's not too difficult. The blue galaxy's finished. It can't extend anywhere to the left or anywhere to the right without being in an off-the-grid situation on the left or a different galaxy situation. Okay, so this cell now must be part of this galaxy, and that's the oh no, I'm wrong. Well, actually, I'm still right. I was about to make a point that would have been incorrect logically and say, okay, well, this must reflect here, and then no other cells can join this 9 galaxy because it would be too large. I was forgetting, of course, that this, in theory, could have a 4th cell or a 5th cell. Oh, it could have a 4th cell anyway, because one of the cells is going to be cancelled by the existence of a star in the cage, except, of course, that anyway, it's impossible to extend it here because the rotation is off the grid. So this must join to the green galaxy. So that's the green galaxy, which can extend. No, it could extend actually there, couldn't it? So I can't actually... It can't extend upwards. That cell clearly can't go up because the rotation would be into the orange galaxy. The same is true there, look. These two can't extend because if we took that, the reflection would be here. So the only possible extension of the green galaxy is sort of horizontally. Okay, that will make red. This one will make yellow. Okay. That one, well, I think we're going to have to continue. I'm just going to continue shading individual galaxy cells here, and let's see if this sheds any light on the world. Now, this is going to be an important colour to select, isn't it? We could select, I think we can probably select blue. It would be unlucky if these two blues end up touching. Not impossible, but unlucky. In fact, it's impossible. It is impossible because this has to stick in this column to the extent it grows at all. Right. So, what on earth is this cell a part of? And the answer is it can't be grey, it would reflect off the grid. It can't be blue, it would reflect off the grid. It can't be orange, it would reflect into green. So it must be purple, which means this must be purple. Purple is a 28 sized killer cage as well. Okay, what about that cell then? Because that would reflect into red. Oh, this could be blue or grey. Bobbins, okay. What about, no, that cell could reflect here. That cell? Yeah, that cell must be blue. It can't be orange, it can't be green, and it's only touching those galaxies. So that's a blue stripe. But the blue stripe could extend down this way. Okay, I think I'm going to have to be a bit more diligent about some of my shadings here. Right, this 37, what galaxy is that part of? Now that can't be part of this 28 galaxy because the 28 already has a number in it. And it can't be part of anything down here without its rotation being miles off the grid. So that's got to be blue, that's got to be blue. And that could be blue, actually. Actually, that could be blue as well. The green is finished, I'm seeing, so we can draw green in. And do we have to have a number in every galaxy? That's something I should have thought about. Well, no, we don't actually. That can't have a number. It simply cannot get one. This square? Yes, okay. What square is this galaxy joining to? Can't join yellow or its rotation's off the grid. Can't join blue, its rotation's off the grid. Can't join purple because its rotation is into grey. So it must be part of red. So red does this, which means we can draw that line in, which means we draw that line in, and we've got to do... Ah, right. So at the bottom, this little... the only thing this can join to is green. So we get a big stripe of green along here, which we can do. That yellow's finished, look. So that's great. What's this part of? No, that could be part of purple. Whoops. I can hear I might be about to get called to go and read Harry Potter. So if I get interrupted, apologies. I will try and make sure it's not at a delicate point in the solving process. Now, right, well this can't be red because the rotation is there. So that's got to be blue, which means we get a massive area of blue at the top, which is 9 cells large. Okay, but one of the cells doesn't count, which is interesting in the context of the 37 clue, because that means there is a star in the blue area that has an 8 in it because of a secret that I only tell my favourite people. But we'll get to that when we get to Killer Sudoku. Right, that's forced now. So all I've got to do is figure out how this top bit works. That, oh no, that could still be blue. Well, this must be blue because it can't join to anything else. It can't join to purple because purple's a 28 region. So this is at least the start of the blue region. This cell now must be purple because it can't be blue. That must be purple. That can't be blue. So in fact, we're getting a big 28 region here. Now that can't be, yes, that can't be purple because the rotation's in the wrong place. So these two are blue. And there we go. That is the spiral galaxy part of the puzzle completed. And that was lovely, wasn't it? It wasn't too difficult. I hope I haven't missed an edge somewhere. This is a one-cell galaxy. Most of the other galaxies have numbers in them. But right, okay, I can see how we can start the star battle now, because that galaxy has a star in it. So let's just put it in. Oh, what colour should we use for stars? Oh no, actually I'm not going to see that. Oh, I can do a bit. Maybe I'll do yellow. No, I think I need something a bit bolder. Blue. We'll do blue for stars. So, the moment we put this in, there's something interesting I can see immediately. There must be a star in green. So that's all the stars for the first row, isn't it? We only need 2 stars per row. And now in this 6 region, that must be a star. So we can do this sort of thing. We can X off all of these. Something I can see in this blue region here is this can't be a star because that would prevent a star appearing in blue at all. So a domino in a star battle puzzle can never have a star in an adjacent cell. So these 2 cells have to be X'd off. Now you can see in row 2 there must be a star in one of these 2 cells, so there can be no star in these 2 cells. Now, can we go further than that? That cannot be a star. There must be a star in this bottom domino here. There must be a star in the 23 cage now, in this domino, so these can't be stars. Now there's a star in the 9 cage in this domino, so that can't be a star. I don't know if this is actually getting us very far. Well, something I can see is I've now got 4 complete areas in the bottom 2 rows of the grid. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't have more stars in green here, or we'd have 5 stars in 2 rows, which isn't allowed. So now there's a domino in this, so that can't be a star, that can't be a star, that can't be a star, which is that interesting? It might not be actually. Right, yes, in the bottom row there's a star in there and there's a star in there. That's the 2 stars. So there's no star here, no star here. So we get star, star, X off all of these cells. Oh, this domino here, so we can X off these. Now there's a star in blue, so we X off that. Now in purple, that's got to be the star. Lovely. There's got to be a star in there, so we can X off those, look. Now, okay, so now if we look carefully at row 6, there's a star there and there's a star there, so we can X that, X that, X that. So the only place left for a star in this enormous region is there, which means that's not a star, that's a star. Now this can't be a star, or you couldn't put a star in the red 30 region, so that's a star. That can't be a star now, or you couldn't put a star in yellow, which means there's one place for a star now in the blue 37 region. That's not a star. There's a star here, so that's not a star. There's a star in one of these too. Oh, look, in this row, row 5, there's a star there and there's a star there for our 2 stars. So that's not a star, which means this is a star. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at column 3 and 4 together, there are 2 stars we've placed. There must be a star here and there must be a star here. There can be no more stars. So that's not a star, that's not a star, that is a star. That's the 2nd star in column 5. So this is not a star, this is a star. And now in this column, we can say that, how are we going to do this? Well, there's a 2nd star in row 3, which means that's got to go in. We've got, okay, let's get the counts right here. How are we going to do? Oh, this star is seeing that cell. So that forces this to be a star, this to be a star, that not to be a star, this to be a star. That can't be a 2nd star in column 3, and that's a star. And there's 2 stars in the final column, so that's not a star. Right, that was a bit rough and ready, but I believe we may have starred this whole grid now. So it looks like I'm being called upon to read Harry Potter, so I'll just take a moment's break. Right, having recounted the tales of Elphias Doge, I am back. Now, what was I doing? I think I'd just finished the star battle by the looks of things. So, what we've got to do now is to do... Well, we've got to do funny killer Sudoku, don't we? I'm going to have to get rid of some of these. I think we can get rid of the X's, but we're going to have to leave the stars marked. Oops. So that we can see which cells are not counting in the killer Sudoku. So let's do a lot of clicking for a moment or two, and then we can see. Hopefully, I'm not going to delete any circles. That would be a shank. Let's go. There we go. So have we got? Well, we should have 18 circles left, and it looks like I don't. I haven't got a 2nd circle. Oh, I haven't. Did I take the circle out? I can see there's got to be a circle there. I presume I had that in before. But okay, I'm quite glad I did an audit on that. I think there are now 18. I'm sort of seeing pairs in each row, so that's a good thing. And okay, so now I can see that cell's got to be a 6 because it's in a... Well, I don't know how to describe this. It's in a galaxy, and it's got to add up to 6, and that cell doesn't count, so that's got to be a 6. Right, in this cage, those 2 cells have to add to 16, so they've got to be 7 and 9. In this 22 cage, there must be a 9, because, I'm just worried about that, because the way I've done the division here, it's not exactly clear to see that that is in a different box of the Sudoku to that. So although I could label that there's a 9 in one of those cells, and it would be true to say that, I might not realise that this is, well, that this cell is in a different 3 by 3 box to these 2 cells. There's a 23 cage down here that's become a 3-cell cage because of this star, so that's got to be 6, 8, 9. 30 cage here, that's 4 cells large, or it's an adapted 4 cells large, so that's got to be 6, 7, 8 and 9. I'm just sort of scanning the grid here, trying to think. Oh, I know. I said that was a 9-cell cage. Now I talked about the secret. Now the secret is something I only tell my favourite people, but it's definitely, if you're still with me after 25 minutes, you're definitely one of my favourite people. Now the secret is that any complete row, any complete column, or any complete 3x3 box of a Sudoku contains digits that sum to 45 because they contain the digits 1 to 9 once each. Now we are told in the instructions that digits cannot repeat within a galaxy. I was just checking that was true, and if that's true, these digits here must be the 9 different Sudoku digits, which we know add to 45, but we're told the sum of this galaxy is 37. So the only way that can be true is if we hide the digit 8 in the star. So that's an 8. Which means, okay, and that means one of those 2 cells in box 2 is an 8, because we can't put another 8 into this 37 cage yet. This box must have an 8 in it. Which is probably interesting, but I can't see how to use that. That's not a 4-cell 30 cage, that's a 5-cell 30 cage. This is a 7-cell, okay, right, so let's have a look at this cage, which comprises 7 counting cells. Now I happen to know, because I've done in lots of killer Sudoku in my life, that the triangular number for 7, i.e. what is the sum of 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7, that is 28. So those cells are a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 septuplet, which means 8 and 9, well that cell's got to be an 8 or a 9. Because it cannot be a digit that appears in those cells. Look, by Sudoku, this cell sees the whole of that septuplet, so that must be an 8 or a 9. And this digit must be an 8 or a 9. It's a 9. That digit must be a 9, because it's a digit that doesn't count towards the 28 total, which must be an 8 or a 9. It can't be an 8. So that's a 9, which means that's not a 9. Which means this is an 8 now, because there's now a 9 in this domino. This is lovely. It's actually not straight. It's not simple either, is it? So actually, look, these are now not 9, and this one is not 8. So that, oh, I see. Where's the 8 in this quadruple now? It can only be there. Which, is that helpful? This 8 means that's an 8 by the power of Sudoku. So this becomes a 6-9 pair. Which I'm sure is important for some reason. This 9 sees a 9 option over there, so we can fill those in. And now we get stuck. We have got some big cages though. We've got this 31 cage here, a 29 cage. Is that 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes. Okay. So this 29 cage, that's got to be a 7, I think. This cage has 7 counting cells, but the only way of making 7 different Sudoku digits add up to 29 is if they are the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So we can sort of get that from this 28 cage, but having to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. This is just one more, so there is only one way of doing it. So these digits are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, which means that the uncaged cells in this box have to include 7s and 9s. Well, that can't be a 7. This is in the cage and mustn't count and can't be a 9, so that must be a 7. Oh, I see. Ah, right. And these two cells are interesting because these two cells are not 7 and 9 and therefore have to appear as digits in the yellow cage. So they have to go in those two cells, and that means that digit is that one because it can't be this one by Sudoku. So these two digits we will label with A because they're the same, and those two digits we will label with B because they're the same. And that's about as useful as a chocolate teapot by the looks of things. What about... hang on. Oh dear. Oh, Simon. Right. 6 has to appear as a counting digit in that 37 cage. Well, that 6 sees all of those cells, so it must be there. Sorry, that was fairly straightforward. I just didn't spot that. And this digit then... does that digit have to be there? I'm just thinking that this digit has to appear in box 2 somewhere. Obviously, every box contains all the digits 1 to 9. But it can't repeat within the blue cage, so that digit's not in there, and by Sudoku it's not there, so it must be there. And this cell cannot be an 8, so that cell cannot be an 8, which means that's an 8. This is really clever. This is far cleverer than it has any right to be, given that it's sort of the third puzzle in a sequence of already quite good puzzles. So C is down there, but I don't think I want to notate that, do I? This 7 is seeing that cell, so that's become a 6, which means I get a 7-9 pair up here, which... okay, but I know that in the 28 cage there is a counting 7, and it's now not there and it's not here, so that's a 7. And... okay... what do we do with this newfound knowledge? Well, maybe I can do... can I get more done in this 22 cage now? That cell is very restricted just by Sudoku, because if we think about there's 2 different ways of making 22 with 3 different Sudoku digits. There's 5, 8, 9 and 6, 7, 9. So we're always working with the digits 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So this cell is just by Sudoku a 5 or a 9 now, because it can't be 6, 7 or 8. If there is a 7 in this cage, it is here. That would be a 9 and that would be a 6. That almost looks likely, doesn't it? Because there is a 6 in this triumvirate. If it's 5, 6, 8, that's the 8. And this is a 5, 9 pair. Now, is there a reason that can't work? Don't know. Oh, by Sudoku, that's an 8. Good grief. Do Sudoku, Simon. So 8 in this box has become slightly restricted. Oh, it's almost, look. It's almost in the 22 cage, which would be very powerful if we could get it in there. Right. Okay. Do I want to label... I might label these cells up. I don't really want to do it, but I'm having trouble seeing what all the options are. That can't be 7. So has this really got all of these options? That's depressing. Okay. Right, so where on earth am I meant to look next? We could... let's think about what we've actually... which cages have I really devoted attention to? Oh, look, that cell has to appear somewhere in box 3. And that cell is definitely not 8, and it's definitely not 7 or 9. So that cell goes there, so those 2 digits are the same. Now, what letter we're up to D now. Let's put a D in there, they're the same. So D is in one of these 2 cells. Oh, I've not looked at this cage. This cage is a 31 cage, and it's 7 cells again. Okay, so this is missing 2 digits that sum to 14, which are either going to... so it's either missing 6 and 8, or it's missing 5 and 9. Well, let me think about that. Well, it's definitely missing 6 and 8 then, because actually if we audit each cell in this cage separately, that can't be a 6 or an 8. Neither of these can be 6 or 8. None of those three can be 6 and 8 because there's a 6, 8, 9 triple in box 9, and that cell sees 6 and 8. So it's not possible for 6 and 8 to live in this cage, which actually means this cell is a 6 or an 8, doesn't it? Because it must be one of the, it's a non-counting digit within the 31 cage. And yet somehow we don't know what it is. So that means 5 and 9 have to appear in this cage. Well, 9... Oh, so 9 is in one of those 3 cells. I don't know if I can do better than that, though. That's really depressing. It feels like that's a sort of... I feel like that wants to affect the 22 cage somehow, or this cell, being a 6 or an 8, wants to affect the 22 cage. Oh, I'll tell you something that's an interesting point. There must be either a 6 or an 8 in that 22 cage, because it's either 6, 7, 9 or 5, 8, 9. So as these squares cannot be 6 or 8, that square is a 6 or an 8. That's... No. I thought that was going to be cool, but it's still not. That means there is now a 9 in this domino, which I thought was going to give me something here, but doesn't. Okay, so maybe 9 in this blue region, which I can see is getting a bit restricted. It's in one of those two. No, that's still not good enough. It's in one of these 2 cells, because we know there must be a counting 9 in this cage. So now there's no 9 here, which means there is a 9 here. That's not a Kropki dot, so don't get excited about that. Wow. Wow. Does the 15 cage need to have some... Well, okay, let's have a think about this 15 cage for a moment, because I can see it's not got... Well, it's not got a counting 6 in it, it's not got a counting 9 in it, and it's not got... I don't think it's got a counting 8 in it. And if it didn't have a counting 7 in it, you couldn't make up its total, because you'd only be using digits from 5 and below, and 5, 4 and 3 only add up to 12. So there is a 7 here. That's going to be important, isn't it? Because now, that 7 sees all 3 of those squares. So this is not 6, 7, 9, it's 5, 8, 9. And that's got the only place the 8 can go. Aha. Aha. So this is now a 5, 9 pair. This is 8. That's not 8. 8 is in one of these 3 cells. Do we... 8? No, not at the bottom. 8's in one of these 2 cells. If 8's in the 16 cage, those 2 cells are going to add up to 8, I suppose. Doesn't look difficult. 7? No. Oh dear. Can we get 9 in this box? Is that restricted? Can it go there? No, it can't repeat in a cage, can it? Right, so 9 in this box is in this domino, which means 9 is in one of those 3 cells. So we can't put 9 and 8 in this green cage. If you put 9 in the 22 cage, does that break it? No, it doesn't. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, not at all. Okay. Oh, look. No, I was about to say what I was about to say was total nonsense, because I've labelled the 9 into 3 cells, not 2 cells. I was thinking if just those 2 had been the 9, I could have got a 9 here. But of course, that's total nonsense, because this could be the 9. Right, goodness me, what on earth are we meant to do now? There's a 6 by Sudoku in this little domino. I am now spotting. Do we need to have an 8 in the 30 cage? I don't think so. But it doesn't have a 7 in it. So hang on, we're looking at 5 digits adding up to 30. If there was no 8 and no 7, we'd have 9, 6, 5, which is 20. No, that doesn't work at all. Hang on, I think I've made a mistake there, because that's so far off that it doesn't feel likely to be true. 5 digits, no 7. If there's no 8, 965 gives 20, and the next 2 digits, 965. I've only got 2 digits left to count, 4 and 3. That doesn't get anywhere near. So there is right. So there's an 8 in this cage, and the 8 has to go there. Okay, well that's something. This has become a 6 then, if I trust my pencil marks. 8 is placed by Sudoku. Look, it's got to be here because of this. Oh, okay, so I could probably have done my 8s a different way, but now I've got 9 8s in the grid out of absolutely nowhere. I've now got 6. I've got 23 in 3 of those cells. I need another 7, not including 7, not including 1 6. So I need 2 5 or 3 4 into the balancing cells here, but we don't know anything about anything. So that's depressing again. Okay. What were the digits that were missing from this? 7 and 8. No, not 7 and 8. 8 and 6. So there is 5, there is 9. We don't know much about 5s. What do we know about 9s? Not enough. I've only got 2 9s placed. That doesn't feel like this. That feels like I've underperformed in 9age, doesn't it? Although I do have a lot of 9 pencil marks dotted around the place. What about 6s? Yes, 6 has to appear. Oh, okay, hang on. 6 has got to appear, look, in one of these 3 cells. Let's put that in and see if that helps. So 6 has to appear in one of those 2 cells. Oh, and there's a 6 9 looking at these 2 cells, so that becomes a 6. I think what's happening here is I'm basically getting an awful lot of very large numbers, and I don't know much about small numbers, but I've just seen something else. Those 2 squares have to add up to 8, and they can't be 1 7 or 2 6, so they must be 3 5, and there's a 5 9 pair there. Bingo. So that's a 5 by Sudoku. That's got to be a 3, that's got to be a 5, that's got to be a 9. That's no longer 9. So this is 9 now. Exactly, which means that's 6 now. Still getting an absolute plethora of high digits in the grid, but not much by way of low digits. I've got 1, 2 and 4 to place over here. And we know these add up to 23, so I know those add up to 7 to give me my 30. So this can't be a 1 because that would need to be a 6. So this is 5 or 3. Bobbin's face. I don't think that's doable. This is not counting, so it doesn't help us. Okay. One of those 2 squares is a 5. Can B be a 5? If B is that one, yes, it can, I think. It seems to be possible anyway, doesn't it? Have I done better with my 9s now? I've done better, but still not well enough. What about my 7s? 7 in this box. It could be the C digit. If it was the C digit, where does it go? There. No. Okay, so that's not 7, because then that would have to go there and it would clash. So we can take 7 out, we can get 7 here. That's going to give me 7, 9, 9. It's more digits. Again, it's all these 6, 7s, 8s and 9s are getting placed. What about... Okay. So, okay, if we look at this box, look. We've done all the digits apart from 1, 2 and 4. So these are 1, 2 and 4. But this is A, which is there. And this is C, which is there. Still not good. D goes here. D could be 5 as well, actually, because it's just all it's got ruled out from itself is 6, 7, 8 and 9. I have to say, I'm really impressed with this though. It cannot be easy at all to make a third puzzle in the same puzzle with this amount of depth. Now, in this row, there's a 3 in one of these cells, which means that one of these two cells is a 3, but I already know what... Oh, so I already know that this is a 3, 5 pair. So B is a 3 or a 5, which is there. Oh, bother. It doesn't help at all. Okay, but that means this square is 1, 2 or 4, which is D, which means that square is 1, 2 or 4 to be an extra D. 7? No. I mean, I can see 7's down there, but I don't think I know into which position it goes. I've got a 9 cage down here, which is not 3, 6 or 1, 8. So it's either 7, 2, which would have to be there, or it's 4, 5, which would have to be, again, very explicitly like this. Now, that's cool. Look at that. I've got 1, 2, 4 triple in this column, which means 3 can only go in one position. I bet that does nothing. I mean, that's exciting, but it's not going to do anything, is it? So I've got 1, 2, 4 and 5 to place into these squares. Oh, that's horrible. Right, is there some total here that we've not used? Oh, can I put 9 in a 22 cage with an 8? Probably not. Or maybe I can, actually. No, I can't. Of course I can't. There's 17. I've only got 5 more in 3 different digits. Brilliant. Right, this is it. So now, in this cage, if I was to include the 9, I'd have 17 in 2. I've still got 3 counting digits that would have to add up to only 5. Well, 1, 2 and 3 would be the minimum I could put in there. 1, 2 and 3 add up to 6. So there is no 9 in this cage. Whoops, no 9 in the cage, which means that's the 9. That's in the 16 cage, which surely does some things. That's 9, apparently, which means this is 9, and this is 6. So now 6, look, is in one of those positions. Now 6 can presumably go into this 22 cage. That would give us 14. We'd need another 8 in 3 cells, which can be done in 2 ways. Okay, so that's not unlikely. I mean, if it was unlikely, we'd have to put the 6 in the non-counting cell. These 2 squares add up to 7, which can't be 1, 6. So this is 2, 5 or 3, 4. Don't know which, but I am actually going to record that because that feels like a modest deduction. Also, interestingly, whatever that is can't appear anywhere in this cage. So if this was 2, 5, you couldn't put 2 or 5 anywhere in the 22 cage. What about 7 then? 7 is in one of those 2 cells, but they're both non-counting in their particular world. There's an X-wing on 7s in these positions, look. So 7 in this row is either 7 has to be here. Can't be anywhere else. We can't put 7 here because that would make this a 7 and this a 7. And we get 2 7s in the bottom row. So look, we get 6, 7, 8 and 9 again. Okay. So I suppose one question I could ask now. We know the 31 cage has to have a 7 in it. Where does that go? there is where it goes. Right, that gets me my 7 down here, which gets me a 6. That's going to be massive. I can already sense what that's doing. That's 5, 4. This is not 4, which means A has come down to 1 or 2. But I think now I've got to look here, because I know these add up. This is a 1, isn't? No, it can't. It is a 1. I'm sure it's a 1. Because these 3 digits we now know add up to 8, which means one of them is a 1. But these 2 digits, which are either a 3-4 pair or a 2-5 pair, can make no appearance in this. So if this was 2-5, this would have to be 1-3-4. And if it was 3-4, this would have to be 1-2-5. But actually, do I feel like I ought to now know where the 1 goes, but I'm suddenly doubting my sanity here. I want this to be the 1, but that would make this a 1 and that a 1. If I put the 1 here, am I somehow... No, I think that can work. I think I'm wrong. I think I'm wrong is the summary of this. That square's now got to not be a 4. So I get a 1-2 pair in the top row. C has become a 1 or a 2, which was the C digit there. So that means D has become a 4 out of absolutely nowhere. So that's a 4 by Sudoku, ruining its Kropki dot look. 4, we don't seem to know quite where it goes in box 7, but we're not far away. This square is a naked single, because it sees it's as naked as the day it was born. Look, it sees 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8, so it must be 3. That's all it can be. Now these 2 squares now have got to be a 4-5 pair, which is interesting because that means this square, B, has become a 3. So that's a 3, that's a 5 using our labelling. 3, 3. There's a 3 in one of those. Well, no, actually there's a 3 in one of those, but it could still be in the non-counting cell. What about 5s then? That's not 5. If that's not 5, that's not 2. This is not 3, so that's not 4. So this has come down to 2 or 3. This has come down to 4, 5, which gives a 4, 5 pair in the column. So this is 1 or 2. Oh, I've forgotten. Those squares we knew added up to 7, didn't we? So that's a 2, that's a 1, that's a 4. Which means this is a 3, that's a 4. This now is 1, 2, 5. The 5 in it can only go there. So this is a 1, 2, that's a 1 or a 2, which is not a 1. So that's 2, that's 1, that's 1. I think that was doable some other way. I just couldn't get my head around the geometry. Now, can I do this then? This is a 1 or a 2. It's definitely not a 6. Which probably does something. That's a 4, that's a 5. So the first 2 columns are done. That's not a 6, so let's correct for that. These 2 cells are the same. C, which is that digit. Okay. 1 is hiding in the corner. Oh, I haven't been checking for 3s in the... I've not got any 3s in the corner today, I'm afraid. There's a 3 in here. These 2 squares are... looks like they're a 2-3 pair, so we can do those. Which means there's a 3 in one of these 2 squares. That square is known, isn't it? That's a 2 by Sudoku. So in this column we've not got 3 and 5. We can do the order, so that fixes lots of things. What's the digit I've not put in here? 8. No, I can't put 8 in it. It's not got 8 or 6, but it does need a 1. So that's the 1. So this is a 2 naked single. That must be a 4. How do I do these 1s and 2s? I don't know yet. This square's become a... Oh, that's like this. That's become a 2 by Sudoku, which gives me a 1 here, a 2 here, a 2 here, a 1 here, a 1 here. Beautiful. That's now a 2. I feel like I've put a lot of 2s into the grid recently. This is a 4-5 pair, which we can do. That's a 5, and if I've not made an error, that looks to be a 1. What a great puzzle. That is brilliant, isn't it? Let's click. Tick. Yay, we did it. And you can see for how long I read the Harry Potter story. That's great. I mean, it's 55 minutes, so it's not a, well, is it a hard puzzle? It is quite hard. Actually, it's strange. The first step, the spiral galaxies, was sort of not easy, but quite easy, especially if you've had a lot of experience with spiral galaxies, which I think I have. The second step with the star battle felt very easy, but the third step, which was the last step, felt very intricate and, seriously challenging, even for somebody, I suppose like me, who's done an awful lot of killer Sudoku in my life. So it's a really, really deep puzzle, and I loved every minute of it. I hope you did too. Let me know in the comments how your galactic skirmish went, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.